بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. As you see, we are continuing our study of the book مسائل فقهية by Allamah Sharaf. So we are talking about wudu. The next issue, which is controversial between different schools of fiqh in Islam, is whether it is permissible to do masح, wiping on imamah. Okay? Because Quran says وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. You should wipe part of your head. What about imamah, turban? Allamah Sharaf says ذهب علماؤنا إلى عدم جواز المسح. Shia scholars say it's not permissible to do masح on imamah. And also some Sunni scholars have the same idea. For example, Imam Shafi'i, Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. But some people say it's permissible. And they argue based on a hadith that Mughayrat ibn Shu'bah reports that the Prophet did masح on imamah. Allamah Sharafuddin says what is sufficient for us is ayah. Ayah says وَامْسَحُوا بِالرُّؤُوسِكُمْ. Imamah is not ras. Imamah is not my head. Imamah is on my head, is not. And what we have in reliable sources is that Rasulullah always did masح on the head, not on imamah. If they want to do qiyas with doing masح of feet on boot and socks, first of all, we don't accept qiyas. Secondly, we had issue even with wiping on the boot and socks. We didn't accept that. And this hadith of Mughayra, although it is mentioned in Sahih Muslim, but many Sunni scholars have not acted upon this. This is why Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, Malik, none of them accepted this. They found this hadith not reliable. Who is Mughayra? Mughayra is a person who was very vicious person. And if he embraced Islam, it was just to save his own life. Because with some people from Bani Malik, they went to Egypt, Iskandariya. And then these people that he was traveling with them, they managed to get some gift from the king of Iskandariya. He didn't get anything. He made them drunk. And then he killed them. And he took the gift of the king that had given them and went back to Mecca. And in order to be saved, he said, I'm a Muslim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. So that, because, we say if someone has become a Muslim, then his blood would be respected if he had done something bad in the past, for example. So this person with this history, how can you rely on one single thing from him? This is why many of our Sunni brothers, great scholars, didn't accept this. The next issue is هل مسح الرأس حد? Is there any limit, any extent for مسح الرأس? Should we do mass of all the head, part of the head? And then the next issue is about ears. We talk about ears later. Allamah Sharaf says, according to our ulama, لا حد في مسح الرأس لا للماسح ولا للممسوح. According to Shia scholars, what should be the size of your hand for wiping? There is nothing fixed. How much of head you should wipe? It's not fixed. There is no defined. What is important is you should be considered by common sense, by urf, that you have done masah. Just people should say he has done masah. If mass of all head was needed, Allah would have said like arjul, wamsahu ru'usakum wa arjulakum. But why he says wamsahu biru'usakum? One person asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, why we say part of head is enough to be wiped? Imam said, لِمَكَانِ الْبَاء, because there is ba here. Ba is for ilsaq, means touching. وَامْسَحُوا بِالرُّؤُوسِكُمْ means your hand must wipe part of the head is enough. Okay? If Orf say this person has wiped his head, it's enough. Imam Shafi'i also says the same thing. He, like Shia, says there is no fixed area that you have to wipe. Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and some other people, they said you have to wipe all your head. Imam Abu Hanifa said that what is wajib is 1/4 of head with 3 fingers. With 3 fingers, 1/4 of head. How he has managed to find this, I don't know, because so specific to say 3 fingers and 1/4. Our hujjah is وَامْسَحُوا بِالرُّؤُوسِكُمْ. Allah doesn't say وَامْسَحُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ. If he wanted all of it, he should have said وَامْسَحُوا رُؤُوسَكُمْ. If he wanted part of it like hand, إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ, not up to here, up to. But here Allah doesn't say anything. Now, there are 6 issues that we want to discuss. One about ears. Mashul udhunain. Do we need to wipe our ears? Shia scholars following Imams, they say wiping ears is not part of wudu, because we don't have any reason from Quran or Sunnah or Ijma. What we have in the Quran is qaslatan and mashatan. Yeah? And when you are going for salat, فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. So qaslatan, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ mashatan. 2 washing and 2 wiping. There is no ear. Those who are following Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Hanabila, they say you have to wipe your ears even inside. You have to wipe. Ibn Rushd also quotes this from Abu Hanifa. So Hanabila, they say you must, and Hanafi people according to Ibn Rushd say the same thing. Shafi'i and Maliki, they say it's mustahab. It's not fariza, but it's better to do mask of ears. Then they have difference. Should you bring new water or the same water? So some people then say, with the same water remaining in your hand, some say new. Also, about repeating, they have differences. But none of these are reliable. Even Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari seems they didn't pay attention to these things. And what we do following Quran, following the Sunnah of Ahlul Bayt, is that we don't consider this to be part of wuzu. Neither it's wajib nor mustahab. Next question. Is it sufficient to wash head instead of wiping? You remember we had this discussion about feet, that they say you can wash. What about head? Because over there they said vamsahu biru'usikum wa arjulakum. Then they say in this arjulakum maybe it's atf to ighsilu, but here obviously Allah says vamsahu biru'usikum. Yeah, if ru'us is not mask, so what else is there to be wiped? So all mazahib arba'ah, they say that you can do mass, but the problem is that they say أن غسل الرأس في الوضوء يكفي عن مسحه. But they say you can also do غسل. غسل means washing. غسل is اسم مصدر, غسل is masdar. They say you can also wash. Some of them said it's makruh. It's better to do مسح. Some say no, it's not makruh. الحنفية والمالكية قالوا بكراهته. They say it's makruh. Because Allah said وامسحوا. You are not doing mass, so it's makruh. Shafi'iyya قالوا ليس بمكروه. It's not makruh, but it's better not to do it. خلاف الأولى. It's better to do mass, but this is not makruh. Hanabila, they say you can do washing, but بشرط إمرار اليد على الرأس. You should move your hand on the head. So if you put your head under water, no, but so that your hand has a roll. Imamiyya say no, washing is not adequate, because Quran says vamsahu, Rasulullah did masah, A'imma did masah, and we don't have any reason to say that ghasl is enough. And what some people said, you remember, some people said if you do ghasl, masah is also included. Yeah, like when you have 100, you have 90. In Farsi we say چو صد آمد 90 هم پیش ماست. Okay, they say if you do ghasl, you have done more than masah, no problem. We say no, these are two realities. If I tell you wipe your computer, you cannot wash it. These are two different things. You cannot say I did something more. You must be very happy that I listened to you and I did extra. No, you did something else. I didn't tell you to do this. The next issue is the same sequence of actions in wuzu needed, or you can do in a different order. For example, instead of starting with washing your face, you start with hand or with wiping your foot. Imamiyya Shia scholars, they say tartib is necessary in the same way that we have in the Quran. فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ. So first, wash your face. وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ إِلَى الْمَرَافِقِ. Then wash your hands. Then وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. Malikiyya, Hanafiyya, and some others, they said there is no need for order. They said it's better, it's mustahab to follow the same order. But if you don't follow, your wuzu is not void. They said, for example, if you start with your left foot, which is the very last part, they said no problem. And end with washing your face. Ala aksal ayah. Quite opposite to the order that they said this order is example. It's not, or maybe better, but it's not necessary. We say follow the order. Quran gives this order. Even if you say, Quran doesn't say fa or summa, it says vav. Because if you have studied Arabic, they say الفاء للترتيب بالتصالي ثم للترتيب بانفصالي. Fa and summa, they show order. One with gap, one without gap. Vav, they say it can be both. For example, if Zayd and Amr have come, if they have come together, I can say Ja'a Zaydun wa Amrun. If Zayd comes first and Amr comes second, still I can say Ja'a Zaydun wa Amrun. If Amr comes first, I can say Ja'a Zaydun wa Amrun. Vav doesn't need tartib. Okay? Yes, we say yes, there is a difference, but some scholars of ilm sarf and nahv, which is, adab Arabi, here is more nahv, they said even in vav, the first principle is to follow tartib. Why you are saying the opposite way? Yes, it's not 100% explicit that it has to be with the order. But the first is to suppose that the order is important. At least, for the sake of ihtiyat, you should follow the same order. Plus, the sunnah is this. We have never had any authentic case that Rasulullah changed. Once he washed face first, another time washed hand first, another time wiped first. We don't have such a thing. He says, Kufiyun in Nahv, they said, Vav is also for tartib. Rasulullah was committed to tartib. Although Rasulullah many times did wuzu, because Rasulullah was committed to make wuzu not only for salat. Always he had wuzu, even sometimes he was doing wuzu over wuzu. So thousands of times he made wuzu. Where are the reports that he did wuzu another way? The minimum is that to be on the safe side, observe the order. At least if you have no other reason, this order which is mentioned in the Quran is acceptable. Don't take risk. This is the minimum. Muwalat. Muwalat is different from tartib. Muwalat means there should be no gap. For example, I wash my face and then phone calls. I start talking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then I say, okay, now I wash my hand. Okay? Shia scholars say that muwalat is needed. So if people say that wuzu is, broken, hayatul wuzu is damaged, yeah, they say this person did something, started doing something else. And in order to have some criteria, they say, for example, if you delay so much that the previous part has become dried in normal condition. Sometimes it's very cold, it takes 1 hour to dry. Sometimes very hot in a few seconds. But in normal condition, if it gets dried, then you have to renew wuzu. Okay? So, muwalat for us is needed. Shafi'i and Hanafi fuqaha, they said muwalat is not needed. It's sunnah, it's better. but it's not wajib. Maliki fuqaha, they said if you remember and have power, you have to have mawal. But if you forget, no problem. When you remember, do it, continue. Or if there is an excuse, for example, you run out of water, you have to go 10 minutes walk and then find water. No problem. From where you ended, continue. We say no, it's not possible. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is never reported to have made gap or break in his wuzu, even once. If it was mustahab, we have this rule in fiqh. We say, if Rasulullah was doing something all the time, this shows it's wajib. Because if it was mustahab, at least sometimes he would not have do mustahab so that people know it is not wajib. Okay? So if he has always, without exception, done it, it's wajib. In any case, the view of Shia is more safe. Yeah? That don't let too much gap. The next issue is a niyyah. This is very interesting. Do you need niyyah of qurba ila Allah and qasdu wajhil fil, that I am making wuzu? Because we need two things. One is that you have niyyah of doing this action, and second, for the sake of Allah. Do we need niyyah for wuzu or not? Shia say yes, because this is ibadah. It's, you remember we had a term on usul al-fiqh. We said wajibat are two, ta'abbudi and tabassuli. Wajibat ta'abbudiyya need intention, niyyah, qasdul qurba. Wajibat tabassuli, they don't need intention. For example, if your body is najis or your clothes is najis, it doesn't need niyyah. Even if someone else does for you, or for example, if you do it to show off, or you are sleeping, but you wash it properly, or you put it in machine, no problem. Because tathhirun najis is not ta'abbudi. But wuzu, ghusl, salat, fasting, zakat, hajj, these are ta'abbudi. If you do everything but you don't have niyyah, they are not counted. Even khums and zakat. If you give money but without niyyatul qurbah, they are not accepted. Okay?
Tawassuli on the first one?
Ta'abbudi. Tawassuli with sad, not sin.
Okay.
Sad
okay.
means wasul. Okay. So Shia say you need niyyah for wudu. Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. We have to do ibadah with the ikhlas. Hanafiya, Allamah Sharaf says, Hanafiya, they said, please listen very carefully. They say, for wuzu and ghusl, you don't need niyyah. Yes. Just if water, is used in the way that we need, it's enough. It's like washing your clothes. Even if someone drops someone in water بدون اختيار, ghusl can happen. Just if the requirement of washing takes place, is enough. If you do riya, showing off, it's okay. But in tayammum, they said niyyah is needed. Why? They say water cleans. And Allah has asked us to do wuzu and ghusl for cleaning. So water cleans, whether you have niyyah or not. But soil doesn't clean. So this is ibadah, you need niyyah. So for tayammum, you need niyyah, but for wuzu and ghusl, you don't need niyyah. Also, they allow wuzu with nabiz. sometimes they put dates in water for some time, and then this becomes sweet. Sometimes can become muskir, can make you drunk. Sometimes doesn't make you drunk. If it makes you drunk, no. But if it doesn't make you drunk, it's just, sweet and brown, they say you can make wuzu with that. But if you do wuzu with nabidh, you need niyyah. If it is pure water, you don't need niyyah. Like tayammum. Allamah Sharafuddin says, where did you get this idea that the philosophy or the reason for wuzu and ghusl was just physical cleaning? That now you say because with water physical cleaning takes place, we don't need niyyah, but with soil or wuzu with nabis doesn't take. Who said wuzu is or ghusl is for physical cleaning? Even if someone has been 7-8 hours, for example, swimming, still has to make wuzu. Wuzu is not for physical cleaning. Allah is saying, إِذَا قُمْتُمْ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ فَاغْسِلُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ. For salat, you must wash. Doesn't say that, for example, if you are not, your hand is not clean, then clean it. No, it's not a matter of just physical cleanness. It's a kind of ritual ablution. Yeah, it's not just cleaning. Otherwise, you can clean it maybe with, some chemicals or so. And we, in any case, what we do is safe, because we say you have to have niyyah, this is ibadah, and according to the hadith of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we are very clear about this. Some other Muslims also think like Shia. The next issue is about al-wudu'u bin-nabīz. Nabīz, as I said, is the water in which they put some dates and becomes sweet. Shia say, following Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they say water which is used for wuzu and ghusl must be mutlaq, means pure water. Of course, pure according to the urf, according to common sense. Not you need to take it to laboratory and be pure water. It's something, maybe for example, in some cities water is a little bit salty, a little bit bitter, so that's not a problem. But they say this is water. They don't say this is juice. Okay? And then if we don't have ma'i mutlaq, what should we do? Tayammum. If there is no ma, you cannot say, okay, because I don't have pure water, I make wuzu with apple juice or with nabiz, for example. No. Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal also have the same idea like Shia. But Imam Abu Hanifa wa Sufyan al-Thawri, they say you can do wuzu and ghusl with nabiz. Nabiz al-tamr. They put dates. في السفر مع فقد الماء. If you are traveling and you don't have water, you can use this. But if you are at home, or if you are traveling and you have pure water, no. It's like emergency. But we say no. If you don't have water, tayammum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says very clearly, فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً فَتَيَمَّمُوا صَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. If you don't find water, do tayammum. You say this person doesn't have water. Okay. لَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً. Quran says فَتَيَمَّمُوا. Why you say لَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً, do with nabis? This person لَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً, yeah, doesn't have water. Rasulullah also said, As-Sa'idu Tayyib Wudu'ul Muslim Illam Yajid al-Ma. Rasulullah said, Tayammum replaces wuzu if there is no water. This is your wuzu. Doesn't say if you don't find water, use juice or something else. Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam of our Hanafi brothers, they use some hadith. There are actually one hadith from Ibn Mas'ud, but from two sources, two tariq, two chains of narration. There is only this. And Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Hanbali, they didn't accept this. Let us see what is this. According to this hadith, this chain, they said, as Ibn Mas'ud said, Inna Rasulallah qala lahu laylat al-jinn, in the night of jinn. You know the story of jinn and Masjid al-Jinn. In the night of jinn, they say, Rasulullah said to Ibn Mas'ud, Ma'aka ma'un, do you have water? He said, no. I have only nabiz. They say Rasulullah said, Tamratun tayyibah wa ma'un tahur. Date is good, water is also tahur. So no problem, now they are mixed. Give me. Subba alayya means pour on my hand so that I make wudu. They say, Ibn Masud says, Sababtu alay, I poured this nabiz. And Rasulullah made wudu. But when we check the chain of narrators, we find that there are problems here with people who are in this chain. And therefore, you see that none of the great muhaddithin have quoted this. Sahih Muslim, Bukhari, Sunan Abu Dawud, none of them have quoted this because it has problem. For example, there is Abbas ibn Walid in this. Lam yakun bithiqa walama. He was not thiqa, he was not reliable person. And great scholars like Abu Dawud have rejected this person. They said, La uhaddithu an. I don't report hadith from him. Then this Abbas ibn Walid quotes from his teacher Marwan ibn Muhammad al-Tatari. And they say he was one of the misguided Murja'ah. Sunnis themselves say this about it. So such a hadith that they themselves have problem cannot be relied on. And in the second version, again there is problem, but in the second version there is no tawadda'a bih. Doesn't say that Rasulullah made wuzu with this. So this is why you see great majority of Muslims, including Sunni great fuqaha, they have not accepted this. In Sahih Tirmizi, in Abu Dawud, all we have this that it has to be with water. Also, there is a beautiful point. Here it says that Ibn Mas'ud says in Laylatul Jinn, Rasulullah was, I was with Rasulullah and he asked me, do you have water, etc. But in some of the Sahih, then it is said that Alqamah asked Ibn Mas'ud, Man kana ma'a Rasulullah laylatul Jinn? Who was with Rasulullah in the night of Jinn? Ibn Mas'ud said Rasulullah was alone. So the same Ibn Mas'ud who says Rasulullah was alone, in another hadith they say Ibn Mas'ud did this type of wuzu with Rasulullah, for example. It doesn't match. So our idea is clear that if there is water which is qualified ma'ul mutlaq, you do wuzu. If there is no ma'ul mutlaq, you do tayammum. It is compatible with the Quran, with the Sunnah, and majority of Muslims accept this, and it has to be on the safe side. Okay, so alhamdulillah, we finished the discussion about wudu. Inshallah, we continue with some other topics of fiqh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.